Hello everyone! In this video we are going to have a full stack project. So since I'm a full stack developer and so many people always ask me and tell me, hey, you're a full stack developer, but why don't you have a full stack project video? Why don't you create one? So here I am. I'm going to create a video, and in this video we are going to create something both front end and back end, and we are going to use Laravel for the back end of our project, and we are going to use Vue.js for the front end. And the project that we are going to the project is this hello Wordle that we have. It's just like Wordle, but you can customize the length of the character. And if you do not know what Wordle is, well, Wordle is a game where you have, for example, since this thing that we have is 5 character. Let's start the 5 character game, and we need to guess what the word is. And for example, for start, I can say tower, and when I write tower, it gives us some information. For example, it says that yes, the T is inside that word, but the position is not correct. O not inside that, W not, E and R, yes, they are inside that, but so it tells us the T and E and R are actually inside that word, and these 3 characters are correct, but the position is not correct. And you need to keep guessing and keep guessing until you finally find out the word. And you can see, since we have a 5 character, you can have 6 guesses. Okay? So this is the project that we are going to work with, and we can go continue. If the position was correct, then the color would have been green. So that's why the color red this means. So for example, we can choose another. Let's have another guess here, and the guess is react. For example, I'm going to change that react, and now it says that still but the A is actually correct, and the location of the A is actually correct. And you need to keep guessing and keep guessing until you find the word. So, but also there's something that you need. You cannot type anything. For example, you cannot type in. It has to be. It says not a valid word, which this is that makes development of this game a little tricky. Makes it a little tricky. So you cannot type anything that you want. It has to be a word actually. So we need to have a database. All the words in our database, something like that. So this is the project that we want to start with. So for start, let's install Laravel. And for installing Laravel, there are many ways to install Laravel, but I like to install Laravel using Composer, and Composer is actually the best way to do so. And for starting this course and this video, actually, you need to have some knowledge in PHP. Actually, I expect that you need to have some PHP knowledge, and you need to have some knowledge in HTML and CSS, and that's it. HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and that's it. Nothing more. I'm going to cover everything about Laravel and Vue.js, and don't worry about that. So this is it. So you just need to know the basics of web development, which is HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, which are the basics of web development, and also a little bit of PHP. So that's it. So, and also, if you haven't already installed Composer, this is a good time for you to install Composer, because we are going to use Composer in order to install Laravel. And you can go inside download section, and depending on your operating system, whether if it's Mac OS, Linux, or Windows, you can easily install Composer. And in order to make sure that you have correctly installed Composer, if you open Terminal and write down, for example, Composer, you should see something like this, which tells you that you have installed Composer correctly. If you see something like this, you're good to go. So now that we've made sure that we've installed Composer, okay, now we can use Composer in order to install Laravel. We can search Composer here, and you can see using Composer there are 2 ways. You can use Composer one time to run and to create a Laravel project, the latest Laravel project, which is Laravel 11 actually, one time, or if I copy the thing and have installed Composer, it goes ahead and installs Laravel for us. But there's another way. The second way, I recommend this second way. You install Laravel installer globally, okay? And after you install Laravel installer globally, now you have access to a Laravel new command, which you can use this Laravel new command in order to create new Laravel apps. So first run this. I do not need to run this command because I've already installed Laravel installer globally. And in order to make sure that we have installed Laravel globally, I can type Laravel here, and if we say that this command is not recognized and things errors like that, it says we can know that Laravel is not installed correctly. But now I see this output, which means I have successfully installed Laravel, and you can see there are some commands like Laravel new, Laravel list, and things like that. So we can use Laravel new in order to create a new project. But if I write down Laravel new some project name, it goes ahead and installs this Laravel project inside this folder, which we are currently inside, that C, users, Ali, desktop, and things like that. But I do not want to install that there. I need to install that in my desktop. I want to install that in my desktop. So I can go ahead and say cd dot dot and go to the previous folder, or I can right click here and say open in terminal. And so where do you want to install your Laravel project? Wherever you want, you need to cd inside that folder. And here I can say Laravel new, for example, w word L. So follows action word L. So this word L is something that the name of the folder and name of my project is. So when I say Laravel new Wordle, the reason that I wanted to install Laravel this way, because it helps us to initiate Laravel better than the composer thing that we had, because it asks us for the start, what Laravel kits do you want to use, some other questions that you can see. It helps us to create the Laravel project better and more easily. So for this, although we do not actually need a starter kit for this project, but since this is an educational course, let's see how does, for example, Laravel Breeze looks like and things like so, in order to increase your Laravel knowledge. So although there are some Laravel kits, for example, non-Breeze and JetStream. JetStream is very complex. It has so many options, so many features, and this Laravel starter kits helps us. For example, one of them is for example, login pages and register pages. And this JetStream is very more complex, has more features like themes and things like that. So since it has a lot of features and it's good for big projects, we are not going to use JetStream in this example. We are going to use Breeze because it's simpler and better for this case. So I'm going to continue with Breeze and hit enter, and then it asks us what do you want to use for the front end, Blade or Livewire or things. We are going to use Vue for this project. So, and also some other features, we do not want any other of these other features, so I hit none. And although we're not going to write tests for this test, but let's use PHP unit for the test. And of course we are going to initiate our project with a Git repository, yes, of course. And now we just wait a little. It creates that folder for us, and it goes ahead. You can see the folder is created, and it goes ahead and downloads some stuff from using via Composer. You can see that it's using Composer to download some packages, and we just have to wait a little in order to finish the step one. And after the step one finishes, it asks us what database are you going to use, and then we again wait a little bit again, and then the installation finishes. Although there's a little bug in Laravel 11, although I've seen that you actually choose that I'm going to use, for example, MySQL for my project. You choose the MySQL, and although you choose MySQL, you can see it defaults back to SQLite for database, and see if that error still exists, or that bug still exists or not. But anyway, it's not a big deal, or not, it's not a big bug that bothers us. But anyway, so just let's wait, and I am going to fast forward the video a little so that you don't have to wait as long as I do. And now here it is. We're ask us which database are you going to use. So I'm going to use MySQL. So let's continue with MySQL. And here we go, it's finished. Now we can see we are inside our desktop. Now we can cd inside that folder that we just created, and we can you open that with VS Code. There are so many ways to open that. I like to use a code dot and open the project with VS Code this way. So this is it. So let's go inside .env and see. You can see now, yeah, it's still that bug. Even though we said we want to use MySQL and it said that MySQL is default, but now you can see it has fallen back to SQLite, and it wants to use SQLite. But okay, we can change that manually. We can say, you know, we want to use MySQL. So since we are going to use MySQL, we need to uncomment these settings here. The database that we are going to use is Wordle, but we haven't created that yet. The username is root and we have no password. Yes. So let's go inside our PHP My Admin. So since I've already installed WAMP and I've already initiated WAMP, you can see this is the WAMP that I'm using WAMP here. So you can see I now have access to PHP My Admin and things like that. So here I can go ahead and create a new database and call that, for example, what I wanted to use. For example, I wanted to use Wordle. So let's create a Wordle, and you can see the database is now created, and this is an empty database that we have. So since we are using, so when here you can see when we create new database, you can see it has so many different collections and things like that. I think we are going to face an error while we are migrating our database, because one of the first things that you do when you install a new Laravel project, you are going to migrate, right? You are going to write PHP artisan migrate, right? If I run migrate, as you can see, yeah, the specified key was too long is the error you see sometimes when you use your MySQL and this kind of database. So in order to fix that, you can actually go ahead inside your app service provider if you saw this error. But if you didn't see this error, it's completely okay. Inside the boot method, you need to set the default string length. A schema, you can say a schema, right? Default. Sorry, caps lock is okay. Default string length needs to be 191. So this now we no longer see any error. But we need to use this schema class to use the default string length method. So in order to do that, we need to use support. I think it was here. If it wasn't here, let's make sure. If it was here or not. The schema was inside fast. Yeah, I think everything is correct. And now, so let's come back here. Let's run PHP Artisan Migrate again. But we can run PHP Artisan Migrate fresh in order to make sure it cleans everything, it deletes everything, and then runs the migration. Now you can see the migration ran successfully and database is created. We can come back here, and inside Wordle, you can see now the Laravel default tables is created, the users table, sessions tables, and things like that. The Laravel ones, and they are inside database migrations. They are run successfully. So I'm going to explain what this migration and things like that is in more depth. Don't worry. But for now, I'm just trying to initiate the project. So we can actually go ahead and continue using terminal here, or we can use terminal here, and you can see there's a shortcut command control shift this tilde character. I don't know what the character name is. Here we can use terminal here also, we can see. And in order to run the server for this, we can write down PHP artisan serve, and if I hit enter, the project will be initiated on port 8000. And if I want, I can customize the port, for example, with -- port. I can say port 8400. So this is the port that I'm going to initiate the project on. So I can copy this thing, or I can use localhost rather than 127 and 27. So I can use control click in order to go there. So yeah, control click. I don't know why it does. Yeah, it worked, but yeah. And anyway, so this is the project that we have initiated. It's working on port 8400 on localhost. And everything is good to go. We are going to keep open this tab, because as I told you, the first thing that we need to do for this project, we need to have a database of words. For example, we can have a table of all 5-character words, or another table for all the words if you want to have it oriented. So the tricky part is that. So now that we have made sure that we have successfully installed Laravel, and we are successfully running Laravel, so everything is great. So the first part is done. And I always say, when you are trying to create a web application or write a project or anything like that, you need to first break down your project. For example, we are going to create this Wordle thing that we have, right? Hello Wordle. We are going to create something like that. For a start, we are not going to make that the letters dynamic. We are going to start with a 5-character, although it's not that much different, but we are going to start with 5-character. So we need to first break down the project. The first thing that we are going to do, for step by step, the first step is we need to have a database of all English words, something like that, and another table we need to have for all 5-character words. And why do we need another table for that? I'm going to explain everything like that. So this is the first thing that we need. But before that, let's explain this Laravel project for those because I told you you do not need to have any Laravel knowledge or Vue.js knowledge. I'm going to explain everything. So that's why, let's close this here. So that's why I'm going to explain a little about Laravel and tell you a little about Laravel, and then when you feel free and comfortable with Laravel, then we are going to start our project actually. So this is it. This is the end of our first chapter of this video. Let's start the second chapter.